According to the SPAN, water supply coverage for Malaysia, especially for Peninsula and Federal Territory, KL and Labuan, is 96.7. These are official data from them. Okay, and although water and sanitary access have improved lately, in Malaysia, the fact is still there are quite a number of vulnerable groups are still need support in this country, especially the orang asli, as well as the people who live in rural, as well in suburban area as well. And according to the Department of Statistics of Malaysia, it shows that 53% of orang community, orang asli, do not have access to the pipe water. Okay, and these orang asli communities suffer from the lack of sanitation as well as the clean water services, as they collect water directly from the river or stream, because the rainy pattern now change, the climate change, all this thing is unpredictable, rainfall and so on. And most of the time is non-potable water unless the system be complemented with filter and so on, like what Mr. Yong have mentioned. Well, of course, there's so many filter in the market available currently, and also medium to high initial cost. Second, tapping direct through the source of the river in the forest. And this is something very common among the orang asli, especially among orang asli. I've been working with orang asli for the last more than 10 years. So this is one of the main source for them. They even tap the rainwater, the river water from the source using the long PVC pipe to their villages and so on. So if you look into the pro of this, the advantage of this alternative source is a natural resources. Most of them, the source is very clean, and also reduce the effect of flood, prevent soil erosion, and regulate the water table at the local level. But the the negative part is immediate significant impact on water quality, especially during the raining season. And if there's any land clearing or open up activities in that water source, in that forest or hill and so on. And this is one of the key issue which I'm going to share in the case studies that orang asli facing currently. The other option, this is something common. I always encourage, especially for rural area, GC also been exploring this atmospheric water generation, where we can tap into moisture level in the air, water contents in the air, and turn into water supply, all these things. There is a lot of technology available into these. I think when I was in South Africa, this is something common for them. And the pro on this is a portable, produce portable water, and it's very portable. Right? We can move around anywhere. So it's very easy, very convenient, very mobile, and so on. But on the other hand, it's very high cost and energy required. Obviously, it's also depend on the temperature and humidity level of the air in the local climate and so on. So it's reliable, but cost very thin and so on. So if you look into this specific alternative water supply source, is tapping into infinite source. I mean, that is not an issue, and it also can produce clean and safe potable water because we use the right technology. But unfortunately, it's very expensive and very limited on availability and so on. Actually, we have undertaken this specifically for orang asli in Kinta, Upper Kinta Basin in Ipoh. Obviously, previously this community have been supported by the Kinta District Health Department through the Bakash project, where they're supposed to provide this clean water supply from the forest source of Kinta River. Okay, but as we know, the main issue we have when we do initial consultation is, according to our community, they always face high siltation. Okay, our water is always teh tarik lah. For them, they don't need to mix teh tarik, they can get from river and from their tap and so on, because one is the especially during the raining season. Secondly, because of the land clearing for logging and other activities, okay, in the catchment area. And second issue is about poor facilities, a lack and poor condition of water storage that been provided earlier by the government, and also on the mini dam maintenance, lesser storage, lack of maintenance, as well as the dirty storage water. Okay, store water. And the third issue always bothering this community orang asli is the weather condition. Limited water supply, especially during the dry season, is also a major issue faced by this community. And opposite to the siltation, high theta rate in a rainy season. So both time they facing the problem. So these are some of the consultation. So these are the activity we do. We upgrade the mini dam before and after. These are the example. Also install water storage tank and also outdoor water filter, because we want to ensure the water quality, especially for the health reason and so on. So we also supported them on the water storage, outdoor water storage, and also water filter before you go into distribution to the orang asli community. Yeah? And also during the project, we also provide indoor water filter as well, to make sure that the water is safe enough for potable usage and so on. So we try different filter in the market, the thing. And we also try to work with some of the initiatives. Obviously, I would admit we didn't succeed on that. In fact, a lot of instances say they have, but we didn't successfully establish any good technology. Because when we talk about technology, filter, all these things, the main issue for the community in a vulnerable group community, whether orang asli or a rural community, is one, the cost. Okay, of course, there's a lot of technology, but it's beyond affordable of this vulnerable group. Second, the maintenance, whether we need electricity and other things. No? Okay, so these are the factors that need to consider before we can promote and suggest to this orang asli or vulnerable group. For information, during the last water disruption, in fact, this rainwater system become handy for the whole community in the block to sustain. So they really use the rainwater harvesting to complement their water source during the disruption period, and it's actually been highlighted in newspaper and so on. So it can be very reliable alternative water supply for urban and suburban, and we have proven this over the time for the last, I would say, more than 6 or 7 years, and there are so many people are benefiting on that. And obviously our initial suggestion to the community is meant for the non-portable usage only. Whether can we tap this into a portable? Yes, can, provided that we provide what you call a filter system to them. And obviously, as what Infinity, Mr. Yong mentioned, that we want gadget that we can explore on this. Okay. Okay. And finally, the third one, as I think previously someone had mentioned about this, during the disaster period, GC with the MyWP Malaysian Water Partnership, and also with NADMA and so on, we have conducted a series of community preparedness during the flood things. We work very closely with NADMA, and one of the module beside the town watching is about the potable water during the disasters time. And obviously, as I mentioned to Mr. Yong earlier, I have promoted so many other technology, not each technology, because I'm not aware. So maybe after this we can explore, since we have our local technology about this. And this is one of the key issues during the flood. Although they have plenty of water, but unfortunately we need to treat and qualify that for potable usage and so on. This, in fact, for information, in the next, on the 10th, Malaysia is hosting, in fact, GEC will be the main trainer for regional training on this disaster planning, including one of the chapter on the water supply for the 22 country, Apex country, and Malaysia is hosting that. So maybe we can promote our own product. So maybe I can talk to Mr. Yong later. So these are the third thing. It's not limited to a vulnerable group in urban, rural or asli, but also in urban area during the flood. It's happened in Kelantan, Terengganu, in fact, even in Selangor, all these things. Okay. So I'm coming to the last part. What are the challenges and lessons learned over the last 15 years of GEC engagement on this area? The challenges is to have continuous water supply due to weather condition, like for example, rainwater harvesting. We have problem during the dry season, and of course for asli during the even dry season as well as the raining season. initial budget for infrastructure or system installation, especially the filter and so on, to ensure that water is safe for consumption and so on. High logistic cost for vulnerable group, especially orang asli who live deep inside the forest or water catchment. And this is another challenge that GEC face, because the cost to bring the technology or the tools to the orang asli settlement is very expensive, because accessibility, limitation on the accessibility and so on. The fourth one is about the legal aspect or approval of using surface water or groundwater abstraction in urban and rural area. In fact, GEC also sometimes we are not so favorable to promote rainwater because of the legal, because we need to get clearance from Ministry of Ministry of Health, okay, before we can say that it's safe for consumption, because it come under their purview. And the finally need for further extensive treatment if harvested water used for potable. But obviously we can look into now what Mr. Yong has presented. Okay, and the lesson learned, initial and feasible assessment need to be done before support or install alternative water supply. So we need to have this rapid assessment, initial and feasible assessment need to be carried out. Beneficiaries need to be well informed and need to be empowered. I think that's what my CDNet are doing, empowering, capacity building on the training and skill to operate and handle any system, any technology that we introduce, or even approach that we introduced to them. Safety and hygienic factor need to be considered too, and in fact that should be the main factor initially. And finally, need seed grant or funding to support orang asli or vulnerable group on alternative water supply, as I think this also been mentioned by Mr. Yong. This is something that always an issue, and that's where our private sectors can come in and to support that. And finally, the last slide, way forward. As everyone knows, water catchment protection is vital for everything, because water is a basic need for human right on this thing. Surface water quality need to be improved, and clean source need to be preserved or protected. Rainwater harvesting system can, although it been said is a mandatory, but my question is it true to reduce the pressure? So we always have problem that on this. Simple and maintenance free and easy to handle and low technology of system infrastructure for alternative water supply to be developed, promoted and supported. And GEC, as I say, I always promote on the disaster management water supply for the disaster period. And we always look for this technology. And then now we can explore what been shared by Mr. Yong earlier. Okay, and finally, monetary support need to be given through government or private funding as through the CSR. And one of the system mechanism available now is Wakaf IA by CASA, where you can even take some loan and also some grant from the government through Wakaf IA for the potable water supply. Okay, so I think basically that is what I like to share through GEC's experience and through some funding project over the years. So I hand over to Mr. Sheldon on this. Thank you